Hey guys, and welcome back to the Indie Spotlight here on the Fronsman Productions YouTube channel. If you're new to this series, this is where I take a look at independent movies to help shine a spotlight on all the amazing indie filmmakers out there. Today, I'm going to be talking about the English short film, Anything You Can Do. Anything You Can Do was written and directed by Alfie Beecher. The film stars Julia Haworth, who plays Evie, a young serial killer in the making. Right off the bat, the movie kicks off with a dinner scene that shows Evie's relationship and dynamics with her parents, along with some peculiar traits of hers that we start to pick up early on as she strangely tears apart her steak with her bare hands rather than using a fork and knife, comparing it to ripping flesh apart. Though her mother, played by Indra Ove, is clearly disgusted and upset by her daughter's strange behavior, her father, played by Paul Tonkinson, is completely naive and dismissive of the situation. Instead, he's focused and fixated on a new cat that just showed up outside that scared his cat, Casper, away. Evie responds very coldly how she'd like to kill the cat, also getting no response from her dismissive father. As you could predict, yeah, she does end up killing the cat that unknowingly actually belongs to another serial killer who retaliates by killing some of Evie's plants and leaving a note. This starts a back and forth relationship between the two characters as each of them proceed to kill plants and animals, leaving them with each other with cheeky notes attached. At one point, Evie actually reaches out to her father, expressing concern how she's enjoying killing too much and will likely continue. But once again, her dad doesn't pay any mind to this and instead dismisses the whole situation. However, her mother, on the other hand, actually does see Evie's psychotic patterns, but she doesn't give her any kind of support. Instead, she scolds and berates her, saying she doesn't even claim her as a daughter. So that's all I can really say without spoiling the plot. And I do have to give a trigger warning to anyone who's thinking about watching Anything You Can Do, just because, the animal cruelty and abuse that's depicted is off-putting for some people, and I'll admit it was even a tough watch for me as an animal lover. But I do have to give a lot of credit and props to Alfie Beecher, primarily because of the way that he was able to craft such a unique story. I thought it was very interesting with the dynamic between Evie and this other woman that's also a serial killer, and the notes that they're passing back and forth, and the relationship that builds between them as Evie's relationship with her parents continues to deteriorate. And I also just got to say, Evie as a character is just creepy from start to finish. So, massive props to Alfie Beecher for telling such a, twisted yet creative tale. I thought that Julia Haworth's performance was extremely strong, especially. Everything she says just feels so cold and emotionless. And I love the way that her dynamic, especially with her mother, plays out during their confrontation. It just sends chills down your spine with how just disturbing in a way it is. And, on one hand, you can almost sympathize with Evie because obviously, her parents don't really, treat her the best. Her father's neglectful. Her mother is very demanding. But at the same time, if that was your daughter and you're putting yourself in the mother's shoes, you can't blame her entirely for just the backlash and negativity. So I really thought that the dialogue was well written, and I really thought that all the parts in this film were well acted. On a technical level, I think this film was shot very well. The cinematography is superb. I will say that some of the shots are very creative and very visually engaging, which really gives Anything You Can Do a professional edge over a lot of indie films. Another thing that I want to applaud Alfie for is this. Once again, like I've talked about in the past with the feature film Save State, I want to talk about Anything You Can Do's just limited scope. I mean, you have 4 characters and you have one location, and rather than, you know, trying to tell some elaborate story with all kinds of an ensemble cast, you know, lots of locations, you really scale it all back to just this character-driven narrative with a very tight script that really allows you as a filmmaker to focus more on the details and the nuances in the characters on the story side of it, but also on the technical filmmaking side of it, really putting a lot more care and attention into crafting each individual shot, you know, rather than being overwhelmed by just an excessive amount of other things to keep track of, for lack of a better term. You know, if you have a lot of actors and you're, you know, bouncing around from location to location and you have all these shooting dates, it's hard to just sit there and focus, especially if you're working on a limited budget. It's hard to focus on really, you know, taking your time on each individual shot because obviously, you know, you have a lot to do. So when you scale it all back like this, you know, it really makes it easier to work on a smaller budget and still make the film look extremely professional. So yeah, Alfie Beecher really knocked it out of the park on that front with this film. Overall, I think that Anything You Can Do is an important watch for independent filmmakers, as it teaches a lot of lessons in terms of telling that, you know, scaled down story where you can really focus on everything within the mise-en-scène for each individual shot. The only thing that once again, I said it earlier, I'll say it again, I'll caution against, if you are somebody that gets upset easily with, you know, animal cruelty being depicted on film. I mean, obviously, you know, none of the cats or other animals in the movie were hurt for real, but just, I know sometimes watching that can be tough. So I'll give a trigger warning. Don't watch this if, you know, that's something that's really going to get to you. But if you can move past that aspect and really just focus on, you know, the way that all of the characters are nuanced, especially Evie, as we watch her, you know, spiral down into, you know, this psychotic, you know, serial killer mentality, and how she, you know, at one point you almost feel like she can be saved. Like I said, she reaches out to her father, but then she ends up straying farther away from her parents and moving more towards aligning herself with this, you know, other serial killer who is giving her that kind of attention that she's craving. So I once again, I do think that this is a great watch for indie filmmakers, and you can watch it now. It's right on Vimeo. I'll go ahead and link the film in the description of this video, so you could go ahead and check that out for yourself. Let me know what you think if you do watch it. And remember, if you like this content and you want to see even more videos on indie filmmaking, make sure that you subscribe, you hit that bell for notifications, and make sure you drop a like on this video. Lets me know that you enjoy seeing these indie spotlights. And if you're an independent filmmaker too, and you want me to talk about your movie on this channel, well then let me know. Go ahead down in the comments. All you gotta do is drop the name of your movie as well as where I'll be able to watch it, and I'll go ahead and do a video in the future covering it. Anyway, that's all I have time for here today. Until next time, that's a wrap.